Trinidad and Tobago is under a state of emergency. Opposition leader calls SOE a political gimmick. Chief Secretary says SOE alone cannot fight crime, urges law enforcement to be fair, and Chamber of Commerce Tobago says supporting measures needed for SOE. Good evening, I'm Patricia Nicholson-Richards. Welcome to the Tobago Updates television news for Monday, 30th December 2024. To a top story this evening. A threat of gang reprisals has triggered a state of emergency in Trinidad and Tobago. The president issued the order shortly after 7 a.m. 3 hours later, Acting Attorney General Stuart Young and Minister of National Security Fitzgerald Hines hosted a press conference to explain the reasons for the SOE providing further details. They revealed that police intelligence indicated an increase in violent gang activities. However, no curfew has been implemented. More from reporter Candice Jackson.
After a decade of resistant calls to declare a state of emergency in light of escalating crime, the government of Trinidad and Tobago has relented, with Acting Attorney General Stuart Young describing the decision as a necessary move.
And we've resisted it for 10 years, but now, based on what has been provided to us, it would be irresponsible of us not to take this step.
Following a string of murders over the weekend, including a brazen shooting in front of the Besson police station in Trinidad, the TTPS advised the National Security Council that urgent action was necessary.
Certain criminal gangs, and I will leave out the places where at this stage, but I can say throughout Trinidad and possibly Tobago, are likely to immediately increase their brazen acts of violence in reprisal shootings on a scale so extensive that it threatens persons and will endanger public safety.
Unlike SOEs of 2011 and 1990, the state of emergency will not include a curfew.
This state of emergency at this time will have no curfew. It will also not seek to affect public meetings, public gatherings, and public marches.
Young stressed that the government does not intend to disrupt the national economy and OLIA's activities should proceed as planned. However, citizens have been warned to prepare for inconveniences due to increased police operations and the suspension of certain constitutional rights.
The power to stop and search by the police. They will be allowed to enter and search premises, to stop and search any vessel, vehicle or individual, whether in a public space or not. They will be able to arrest without a warrant any.
A zero-tolerance policy will target individuals suspected of threatening public safety, carrying illegal firearms, and violating regulations. Suspects can be detained up to 48 hours, extendable by 7 days, with bail access suspended. National Security Minister Fitzgerald Hines emphasized the necessity of these measures to address violent crime.
This declaration of a public emergency is to confront the criminals and to allow law enforcement easier access than ordinary to them.
Police officers on leave are being recalled to assist in the efforts, while the Defense Force has been granted powers of arrest. As outlined in the Constitution, the SOE will remain in effect for 15 days. If the government decides to extend it beyond this period, parliamentary approval will be required for an additional 3 months. Candice Jackson, Tobago Updates, Television News.
Well, in response to the declaration of a state of emergency by President Christine Kangaloo earlier today, THA Chief Secretary Farley Augustine said he awaits details on the specific reasons for calling the SOE.
We are aware that the President has 3 days for which she will have to deliver to the Speaker of the House of Representatives a statement actually setting out the specific grounds on which a decision to declare the state of emergency was based. Once that happens, it will generate a debate, a public debate, and certainly a debate within the House of Representatives. concerning the matter. And so I don't want to venture too much into the details surrounding why there is a state of emergency until that statement from the president is actually made available to the Speaker of the House in keeping with the laws of Trinidad and Tobago.
In the meantime, he has advised law enforcement officers to be fair in carrying out their duties and not abuse their powers.
Notwithstanding, I wish to remind all law-abiding citizens that the safeguards in the Constitution are now suspended and that you ought to be ever more careful as you go about your daily routine. Now, we trust and we hope that the security services will not, during this period, abuse their powers or abuse the authority now conferred upon them, and with the suspension of the constitutional rights of citizens of Trinidad and Tobago.
Augustine criticized National Security Minister Fitzgerald Hines and Police Commissioner Earl Herwood Christopher for their failure in addressing crime, asserting that crime fighting in Trinidad and Tobago requires more than an SOE. He emphasized the pressing issue of the country's porous borders as a significant challenge.
We need to address our porous borders and invest in the right assets for our police men and women, our Coast Guard men and women, and the Defense Force. We need to upgrade some of our legislation to empower the police service to not abuse human rights, but to really be more efficient in apprehending criminals. We need reform of the judicial system to some degree that will allow for efficient management of cases, so we don't just have people punishing in remand yard without the cases being properly tried and completed. This is real. What we really need is an entire system overhaul.
Well, notwithstanding this, he encouraged citizens to do their part in the fight against crime. Trinidad and Tobago has recorded upwards of 600 murders for the year thus far. While opposition leader Kamla Persad-Bissessar condemned the recently declared state of emergency as a politically motivated stunt ahead of the general elections, accusing the government of neglecting long-term solutions. She criticized Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley for failing to address the nation during a record-breaking year of 625 murders, attributing the SOE to poor planning and public relations rather than genuine concern for citizens' safety. Persad-Bissessar highlighted contradictions between government ministers on the rationale for the SOE and slammed their response as disorganized and dismissive. She argued that the government's decade-long failures, including porous borders and unchecked gang violence, have allowed crime to escalate. Trinidad and Tobago's crime rate has surpassed 600 victims in December alone. The country recorded 61 homicides. Tobago in particular has seen a record high of 26 homicides, with the most recent victim being 21-year-old Zachary Lindo. He was shot and killed mere days before Christmas and his birthday. With high-powered weapons in the hands of criminal elements, a state of emergency has been declared for Trinidad and Tobago. Joshua Dan has more.
During the Ministry of National Security's media briefing on the circumstances surrounding the state of emergency, Minister Fitzgerald Hines addressed the press and highlighted some of the alarming figures related to criminal activity in Trinidad and Tobago. According to Hines, police intelligence indicated a significant risk of gang reprisals, which ultimately led to the declaration of the SOE.
Police are interpreting all of this as a virtual outbreak of gang violence affecting and traumatizing the entire society. We get feedback from the public through the media and directly very often, and from all the agencies, about the trauma, the fear that the society has been put in.
He said there have been 551 recorded murder-related incidents with 614 victims. He added that 93 of these incidents claimed the lives of more than one victim.
For that period, there were 33 double homicides, 8 triple homicides, 4 quadruple homicides.
According to Hines, 713 people had been injured in shootings and stabbings, but fortunately did not succumb to their injuries.
So far, 616 incidents of woundings and shootings, meaning where the victim is shot, but fortunately did not die. And those 616 incidents of wounding and shootings accounted for 713 victims.
Based on the data received by police, Minister Hines stated that the murders can be categorized as follows: 32 linked to domestic incidents, 60 connected to robberies, 55 acts of revenge, 84 drug-related, 29 the result of altercations, 8 related to other incidents, and 263 gang-related. Joshel Dan, Tobago Updates, Television News.
We'll take a break and come back with more news. Stay tuned.
Want to get better? Where to start? What kind of exercise to do? What to eat? How to get restful sleep? Need a doctor to search for root cause? Look no further. Come to Majuba Hill Lifestyle Center Foundation at our Wellness Center in Goodwood, or Food Hub in Darrow Springs, Scarborough, or Doctor's Office in Goodwood and Darrow Spring. Contact 49 Swift 4979 438.
When the game is on, you don't want to miss the best moments. With Amplia TV, you can enjoy our ultimate sports package and watch your favorite games on the go. Stay connected and informed with sports news, scores, and stats with Amplia's fastest internet speeds. Up to 1 GB fiber internet, you can stream riveting football action, cricket, NBA games, and much more. With Amplia, it's game on. Visit amplia.co.tt or call 800-4663. Amplia. Do more, live more.
Are you thinking about spending Christmas in Tobago? Well, call us at Thorns Place. We are located at the hills of Scarborough, 5 minutes away from the port, with rooms starting at 200 TT. Call us now at 745-7306 or 682-8676. Follow us on Facebook. Check us out on Instagram. Message us on WhatsApp at Thorns Place. Your Christmas in Tobago will be even more special.
Ho ho! Delta Distributors Christmas special is here. Choose from our special meat packages at unbelievable prices. Ho ho! Perfect for your holiday feasts. Hurry! Limited stocks. Order now. 11 pounds chicken, 5 pounds pork, 5 pounds turkey, 1 picnic ham, 1 liter pear jacks, only $500. Ho ho! Order now at deltechdistributors.com. Call or WhatsApp 359-5040 or 237-0102. Only $20 delivery, or come into our main road Argyle store. Ho ho!
So earlier today, the government of Trinidad and Tobago, via a news release, declared a state of emergency. The declaration was issued by the Communications Unit of the Government of Trinidad and Tobago and has sparked public discussion, with many questioning the criteria for the decision and the reasons behind it. Inspector Dexter Miller shared his perspective, stating that the measure had become necessary given the current circumstances. Reporter Joshel Dan has more details.
There has been considerable speculation regarding the timing of the state of emergency, but Inspector Dexter Miller clarified that a carefully considered strategy preceded the decision. He emphasized that in light of the current crime situation, the implementation of the SOE had become an essential measure.
So it's not something that happens overnight or somebody just wake up and decide that we need a state of emergency. It goes with careful consideration. It goes with intelligence, it goes with information, it goes with reviewing what is happening. So we have to understand that it is a calculated situation of a warranted move which is necessary.
Inspector Miller stated that the SOE grants the Commissioner of Police and the Chief of Defense Staff specific powers to carry out targeted operations. He also said the public can expect an increased presence of law enforcement officers on the streets and urged the public to cooperate with officers to ensure greater safety and security.
We are to expect a more vigilant presence. We are asking persons to be patient and be understanding with the authorities in their dispensation of how we treat with the state of emergency situation.
While some may argue that the SOE could have negative repercussions, Inspector Miller has countered that it is not necessarily a harmful measure.
State of emergency may not be negative. We have to know how we're looking at it and wait and see what is the specifics.
Inspector Miller was a guest on Tobago Updates' Good Morning Tobago program. Joshel Dana, Tobago Updates, Television News.
Minority Leader Kelvin Morris supports the government's decision to declare a state of emergency in response to threats of gang reprisals across Trinidad and Tobago. While the SOE does not include curfews, it grants police enhanced powers to stop and search citizens without a warrant. Morris commended the government for striking a balance between ensuring public safety and protecting the economy and expressed optimism for a positive outcome.
This is a chance for law enforcement to step up and really go after those fueling the violence. At the same time, we must trust this move is part of a bigger plan to tackle the deeper issues driving crime, like our porous borders that allow illegal guns and drugs to flow in, money laundering that fuels gang activity.
He urged law-abiding citizens to cooperate with the police as much as possible during the 15 days of the SOE.
And yes, there will be some inconvenience, but we all must see the bigger picture, respect law enforcement at this time, and work hand in hand so that we can have a successful outcome. Let us be patient, let us trust the process, and we will be successful.
Morris acknowledged that this may be a challenging time for the country, but stressed that if citizens work together and remain focused on the bigger picture, progress can be achieved. He urged support for initiatives aimed at making communities safer while prioritizing long-term solutions to address systemic issues. Well, the state of emergency is a welcomed measure by Curtis Williams, chairman of the Tobago Division of the Trinidad and Tobago Chamber of Industry and Commerce, in the fight against crime. While he expressed full support for the government's decision, he remains uncertain about its effectiveness, given that it's being declared without a curfew.
The absence of curfew ensures the minimum disruption to economic activity, which is critical given the fragile state of many businesses across the island. However, it also raises a concern whether the SOE will have the necessary teeth to effectively address the intended issues such as crime reduction.
Williams cautioned the government that the success of the state of emergency depends on the ability of the relevant authorities to effectively implement and enforce the measures.
Clear, decisive action targeting key concern areas, such as the gang activity, illegal arms trafficking, and the impact, it may be limited. It definitely might be limited. And to supplement the SOE, the government should look at some other things, intelligence-driven policing, community engagement, social intervention, judicial efficiency, and gun control measures.
The government that an SOE alone cannot eliminate the criminal element from society. Despite this, he pledged the Chamber's full support and cooperation with any plan the government implements to improve public safety. You're watching the Tobago Updates television news. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube at Tobago Updates. More news after this.
It's the season of unforgettable, magical moments together. A song that reminds us of how our love blossomed. The warm, comforting smell of Christmas Day that brings us together. That feeling of comfort when our loved ones see the magic happening before their eyes. This Christmas, believe in magic, only at Standard.
Tobago Glass Supplies has been a leading name for over 37 years in the glass and aluminum market in Tobago. We provide an extensive range of high-quality, innovative aluminum and glass products for commercial and residential use. Competitive prices with superior and professional services by committed employees who are guided by rigid quality standards. Tobago Glass Supplies specializes in the manufacture and installation of glass and aluminum products that are essential to today's homeowners and the business environment. We are engaged in marketing, sales, and installation of a variety of products. These ranges from windows and doors to necessities such as mirrors for homes and vehicles, designed and manufactured in-house or imported.
Unwrap the magic of Christmas and have the best Christmas ever with a Christmas Wishes loan from Bethel Credit Union.
Up to $20,000 can be yours, so you can take care of all those Christmas expenses. You could even pay off all your debts and your credit card.
Come on down to where we make wishes come through, because we see you
at BCU.
Visit any of our offices today at 31 Bethlehem Road, Bethel, Tobago, or Mount Mary, Lower Scarborough, Tobago.
You can contact us at 639-8226-660-7358 or 631-1336.
Normal lending criteria apply. Think, plan, save with Bethel Credit Union. Because we see you at BCU. We see you at BCU. Come on down, get a loan or two, cause we see you this Christmas at BCU.
Thank you so much for staying with us. Chairman of the Tobago Business Chamber, Martin George, expressed satisfaction with a high number of visitors to Tobago during the Christmas season. He stated that the island is rapidly becoming the destination of choice for the holidays.
Christmas into New Year is a big thing now in Tobago, and persons love to get there for the peace and tranquility. Of course, we of the Tobago Business Chamber have constantly reminded the officers of the TTPS and the leaders in the THA and also in central government that the safety, security, and serenity and sanctuary of Tobago is its biggest asset.
While George acknowledges that tourism is performing well, he laments that brick and mortar businesses are not experiencing the same success. He notes that sales remain slow, which has been a source of disappointment for many small businesses.
The reality is that there is an increase in online sales, and many persons in Tobago are purchasing their goods directly from, the big box retailers online, and they are ordering them and shipping them in for themselves. So therefore, there's less need to go to a boutique.
George encouraged businesses to adopt innovative strategies to overcome the challenges faced in the private sector. He urged them to take the necessary steps to become leaner, stronger, and more profitable in an ever-evolving economy. The Division of Food Security, Natural Resources, the Environment and Sustainable Development has alerted the public about Portuguese man-o-war sightings along Tobago's beaches. Often mistaken for jellyfish, these siphonophores are distinguished by their purple-blue translucent bubble-like appearance and long trailing tentacles. While their stings are rarely fatal, they can cause severe pain. If these creatures are spotted, beachgoers are advised to avoid swimming, wear protective gear, and keep a safe distance, even from those washed ashore, as they still can sting. If you are stung, exit the water immediately and remove the tentacles with a towel or a stick, not your hands. Rinse with seawater, apply apple cider vinegar, and seek medical attention. For emergencies, you can call 211. Now for a look at the weather update from the TNT Met Office. Tonight will be partly cloudy and cool with isolated showers in some areas. Tonight's temperature will drop to 24 degrees Celsius. For tomorrow, you can expect fair conditions, interrupted at times by partly cloudy periods with light to moderate showers in some localities. Daytime temperatures are set to reach 31 degrees Celsius with a heat index of 34 degrees Celsius. Seas remain moderate with waves 1.5 to 2 meters in open waters and near 1 meter in sheltered areas. Seas may occasionally become choppy. Sunrise is at 6:21 and sunset at 5:50. And that's how we end this evening's newscast. Here's a recap of our headlines before we go. Trinidad and Tobago is under a state of emergency. The opposition leader calls the SOE a political gimmick, while Chief Secretary Farley Augustine says the SOE alone cannot fight crime, and he urges law enforcement officers to be fair. And the Chamber of Commerce Tobago says supporting measures needed for the SOE. I'm Patricia Nicholson-Richards, thanking you so much for joining us and wishing you a great night.